We are back with another album review, and this time we are taking a look at the new uicideBoy album called New World Depression. I will say, from the singles on this album, they were kind of mixed for me in the beginning, with me only really liking one of the 3 singles. And so now we will be getting to the full album and do a full listen, and then do a track-by-track summary. Okay, so first impression of the album. Like, as a full listen the whole way through. They chose the wrong songs to put as singles, because I will say the rest of the album is pretty damn amazing, from my opinion. It had a great mix of hard and mellow stuff the whole way through it, and it flowed fairly well together, despite jumping from one extreme to another, and the production on this is insane. So first up is Lone Wolf Hysteria, which I will say, they always know what songs to choose for the intro. They will always choose a good song, and they really chose well here. Very catchy, kind of gets you in the mood to what the whole album will be. Mental Clarity is a luxury I can't afford is up next. It's another hard-hitting track, not as hard as some for me on this album, but still keeping that energy. And honestly, for some reason, Ruby's verse about Rainbow Road, it somehow itches a spot in my brain that I cannot explain. Third track on the album is called The Thin Gray Line, which is one of my favorite singles, and is one of the top 4 songs on this album for me. And it's like a very dark feeling, and it reminds me of kind of a similar feeling I had when I first listened to I Wanna Die in New Orleans when that first came out. It's like that excited feeling about it. Somehow the beat seems like really, really minimal than others so far, but yet it still feels so full, and the vocals cut through great. Nothing really kind of overlaps on each other in a way, but still great overall. Thorns is a very mellow feel compared to the other 3 on the list so far, having a soft piano over it all, but still keeping those powerful drums and vocals. That's all I gotta say about this. Misery and Waking Hours keeps up that eerie, dark feeling with it, and is one of the more long songs in the album, and is another top 4 for me. And it's like, while it isn't as heavy feeling as some others, it is more of like a relaxed track in my mind, but still hits hard. Burgundy is another one that is in the top 4, and I know I already have 3 of the 4 top 4 songs in the beginning of it. Trust me, these are that good. And like the powerful bass in it that just fills up and takes over in the best way, while letting the melody, drums, and the vocals cut through perfectly. And I specifically love Ruby's verse in this again. It's like Scrim's verses are still good, I'm not saying they aren't, but somehow Ruby's verse in this, where it kind of just, I'm guessing, I call it, it's like dancing around the beat. Like it's somehow on beat correctly, but yet it's like bouncing off. It's kind of like skipping the words around in a way. And it makes it so much more interesting to listen to than if he just went right with the beat. Transgressions is another one that follows up with this boom bap slow beat stuff that they've been doing lately. And I first noticed this kind of style going on, if I'm correct, within the long terms of Effects of Suffering album. It could have happened before then, but I'm not 100% sure. I started listening around like mid-late 2017, around that area in my opinion. But still, good track, nice track, but it doesn't hit as hard. It's more of like one of the filler ones on this one. Are you gonna see the rose in the vase or the dust on the shelf released as a second single? And I will say this 100%. I did not like it that much when it came out, because compared to the first single, then that, it was so vastly different that I'm like, what are they doing? But yet now, it is growing on me because of the way it fits into the album. They just were not good at, like, picking what songs to release, that it just felt like they were too far off, but here they fit. All of My Problems Always Involve Me is another mellow feeling song with the powerful drums, and it kind of does feel like more of a filler song for me. And while it is still good, it's not a song I can really pick out anything other than this one line. And I'm gonna go on a little bit of a ramble here. I'm going on a ramble here, don't worry. It's the line that Ruby says about not wanting their music to be released after they're gone. Which, I'm gonna come at this from their side, like, their side first. Then I'm gonna come at it from another side. It's like I can kind of get their side with how, like, oh, they don't want their legacy or whatever to be, I would say, tarnished. Because I will say that, like, I'm not a super fan of XXX Tentacion. I'm pretty sure that's how you say his name. Don't kill me, wasn't super into that era of SoundCloud. It was like, that was like kind of right in the gray area for me. But still, it's like they kind of tarnished his legacy with the last album. Apparently, people say it was awful. There's a lot of people where their legacies were tarnished because of bad management, bad ideas of releasing the songs and all that. But now I'm going to come at it from another side. But as someone who really thinks it is important to preserve all parts of music, whether that be a finished track, an alternate take, clips or excerpts from a track, or demos, they need to be preserved, or else stuff like that will be lost to time, and then we will have a problem like we did with early movies from like the 1900s. Apparently, like, I think they said like 80% of them or 90% of them are lost to time because they didn't think about preserving stuff. Same with, like, what is it, the Doctor Who episodes. I heard about that from Lost Media, how, like, they just scrapped them and cut them and re-filmed over them. That's a problem. And I feel like this should be something that should be preserved. And I'm going to bring up some other examples. That's kind of why I love what Frank Zappa and David Bowie's teams are doing right now. Is pretty much, I would say Frank Zappa, for one, recorded damn near everything. Even he had stuff from like the 50s and all that shit, or like early 60s. He kept damn near everything. They're still releasing music to this day. They had a full album of brand new items, like brand new songs, released last year. And it was like a 20-something track album. But what they are doing correctly, they're preserving the music and releasing it to the masses, to public, so fans can hear all of it. And honestly, I think Bowie's team, even though I love Zappa stuff, it's like mainly like archival stuff of like different takes, all that stuff. You don't really get like old recordings or whatever half the time like David Bowie's does, but they're still great, like full live albums and all that shit from Zappa. Amazing. You have that stuff from Bowie, but Bowie's team I think does it a bit better, especially with this newest album set, the box set for Rock and Roll Star, which, if you don't know, that is pretty much the home now for all of the songs and all that recorded during the Ziggy Stardust era. Before this, I never knew that the song Moon Age Daydream was originally a hotel recording called So Long 60s, or that there were various takes of other songs off that album that included sometimes completely different lyrics, or sometimes supposed to be like just piano songs, acoustic songs, folksy songs instead of like glam rock. And it's like, even though the quality isn't the best, like So Long 60s is a hotel recording. It sounds like it's seen better days. But at the same time, I would take that any day over the rest of the music being vaulted away. If the boys wanted to, and it might be a great choice, they could either have it all released like at the very end for free, or have a team of the family or whatever, or like very, very close friends, whatever they want to do, release the work as a curated collection. Like, because I fear if not, we might have what happened to some artists like Michael Jackson, who is rumored to have between 100 finished songs to up to 2,000 songs total. Apparently Juice WRLD, while I don't listen to him, apparently has 3,000 somehow. Even the boys, they have lost music, and not just songs, full albums and mixtapes, either from their past bands, like in Ruby's perspective, like punk bands or whatever. I can't find much about stuff, or multiple mixtapes by Scrim. I know a lot of people have been finding them, and I have a couple of like odds and ends tracks, and at the moment I think I have Drug Flow 2, like the whole entire album downloaded. There are still rare like mixtapes that were not preserved and are just lost. And at this point, they seem like they have a very slim chance of being found, because there's some like Reddit forums and all that shit going back to like 2017, and they're still unsolved to this day. And like honestly, they gotta do that, because apparently Scrim has like hundreds or whatever. I don't know, probably at least 50 something tracks. He released a 40 track album. He's like 26 tracks, and then, oh, let's pop another 13 on there. No normal person has that. They are wild with this shit. They should just honestly release it all, so that way people can have it and listen to this. Sorry for rambling for that long. I just needed to get that out, because that line really kind of like hit a nerve with me. yeah. Next up is Light at the End of the Tunnel for $9.99 a month. Has a very interesting melody that kind of drags the listener back into it at the end and brings them back with that hard and mellow feeling. Now we have Drag Him to the River Totalitarian mix, and this is another one that, nope, there's no normal mix of this. We have never heard the normal mix. There was another one, I think it was Sleepy Hollow or whatever the fuck, where we never heard the normal mix till, like, I have it somewhere, I believe. What about this one? Where's the regular Drag Him to the River song? And it's like, well, this brings hardness to full drive. It's still confusing not having the normal mix, but it's a great song. And now we have the worst song, in my opinion, on this album, called Us Versus Them. And already, it's like, it doesn't really fit the feel of anything. It kind of feels like The Evil That Men Do, when that didn't sit right on Sing Me a Lullaby. It just felt so out of place that it's like, what the hell is it doing here? So it's like, it's already not as good of a song, in my opinion. But then it was played to death all the time on TikTok by, like, I think it's like the popular creators and all that. It was like my whole feed for like a day. That kind of just buried it, honestly. Last is Kill Yourself 5, which is a nice, like, bringing back to hear these songs that are also EPs, which is weird that they didn't really go onto their designated EP, but whatever. It's like, it's weird how it's done, but the song does go hard, and that's the last song in my top 4 favorites. It's like feeling a bit off, yet it is still hard, as always, and it's short and sweet. It doesn't really drag it out so much. That's what I like about these KYS tracks. They're always short, sweet, to the point, and they hit hard every time. Overall, it was a fairly great album that did surprise me in many ways. For the ear appeal section, I'll give it about a 6.5 to a 7. It's like, I can see this falling out of routine within a month or two time, but the songs that are on there will be listened to heavily. Probably about once or twice a day I'm playing it now. It's about a half-hour album, so I can jam through it quickly. And it's like, it's really great production overall, like I was saying. The vocals are really recorded well and all that. Nothing really feels so bad, and even with Us Versus Them, that's, I don't know, it still was mixed good. I just didn't like it. That was just a personal preference. And overall score will be an 8. It is just that good to me, and that's where I'll leave it. I will be probably getting the physical copies of this very soon. I have not gotten this or Sing Me a Lullaby yet, and I need to so bad. I don't care what color vinyl, I just want a vinyl. I would love to get the Coke bottle vinyl. I love Coke bottle vinyl. But, regardless, hope you enjoyed the review. What album do you want to see me review next? And if you liked the video, let me know down below. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever you can. See you in the next one.